I'm Carrie Parker. I am one of the occupational therapists here in Brunswick County.
And I'm Kimberly McCall, and I'm one of the other occupational therapists in the county. All right, so we hear so much today about sensory integration, sensory processing, dysfunction, that sort of thing. So what is it really? So sensory integration is the way our bodies take in information through all of our senses, and they send these signals to our central nervous system. And then our central nervous system ideally would help us have an appropriate motor or behavioral response. So on the other end of that spectrum, what is dysfunction? So when you're looking at sensory processing dysfunction, okay, imagine that you have this spectrum, and on one end your system is very slow and it's moving like this, and then on the other end of the spectrum you have all right? So ideally you want to be right in the middle. Well, what happens if there's a breakdown in that information and it's either going more to the slower side or more to the hyper side? Well, then you have a breakdown in that information and you have inappropriate responses to activities in your daily living, and it starts to interfere with the way you are able to perform and produce products in your environment.
So the different areas of sensory processing we have listed here for you: touch, taste, seeing, smelling, and hearing. And vestibular and proprioceptive, the last two a lot of people haven't heard of and don't know a whole lot about. So we are here to kind of go over those for you and answer any questions you might have.
First, the tactile system. There are receptors that are right under our skin, and one of them is light touch and the other one is deep pressure. And the light touch alerts our nervous system, whereas the deep pressure is more calming and relaxing to our system. This is the tactile station, so just wanted to show you some different things that you can use to give some tactile input. Shaving cream on a pan, playing with that, a squishy ball, vibrating pins, yeah.
Can you actually write that?
Yes, it'll write.
Interesting. No, thanks.
And then if you want to feel something different, that's a different texture, something soft.
Toothbrush, yeah. Just pot beads. I mean, the pop thing.
Yeah.
You can take rice and put army men, animals, dinosaurs, all kinds of things like that. Beach toys. Most of our classrooms have bigger bins of things that they have.
I had one family that took one of those really big Tupperwares, and the child would actually get in it, and he just liked the way that it felt around him. You can put anything, rice, beans, styrofoam, little peanuts.
Yeah, this is just a little hand fidget that you get. Then books, you know, they have different textures and things to engage. And this is one of those dusters, and I picked it the other day up at the Dollar Tree, and I was just like, oh yeah, that would feel good. Yeah. So, you know, just things that you don't use them for their normal purpose. Just trying to be creative about what's in your house and what you can find at the Dollar Tree. We love the Dollar Tree. This, you can write your name in it. You can put your whole hand in it and just play.
Yeah. The process out be on the car, and David would go and she's got his name over the car. And it stays.
I didn't bring one, but one of the other things I like to do is take a Ziploc bag and you put hair gel in it, and then they can play with the hair gel and move it around and make designs and write their name and do things like that. And that's something that you can put in the car. And what I do is I invert, like I'll put the gel in one end of the bag, then put the bag upside down in another one so that it's less likely to come out. Yeah. So, and that's a more versatile thing to take you with you on the go.
The proprioceptive system, we have receptors in our muscles and our joints that send information to our brain about how our body is moving throughout space. It tells us where we are related to things in our environment and kind of how our body is moving around those things.
The information that we get through the vestibular system, it kind of organizes and prepares the body to receive information from the muscles and the joints and the eyes and the ears. And it also helps us understand gravity and our relationship to the ground and our environment. And then there are little receptors in our ears, and those receptors help determine our balance and our ability to process that. So this is a weighted blanket that we made just out of a beach towel. We sewed lines through it and then put rice in it. And you can use rice and beans, but if you wanted it to be machine washable, you could also, they make these little plastic beads that you stuff dolls with. Then they're washable. So they just cost a little bit more. So you could do something like that. And then any kind of roller. It can be a rolling pin. It can be these paint rollers. And turn around just a second. Is that calming you right down? There you go. Here you go.
And that's
just a paint roller. And they have these at the Dollar Tree. Yeah, yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Go get one of those.
Yeah. And even the little ones. And then if you wanted to do something that has just a little bit more weight, put them in the tub and let them roll the sides of the tub, and they give you a lot more input when they have the water in them. Okay?
And I made this weighted blanket. It's got poly pellets in it that you can get at a craft store. And it's just a beach towel that I sewed pockets. I just sewed it one way and filled it and sewed it the other way. They're a lot cheaper to do that than they are to buy.
Oh, I have to do Jayla's Ninja Turtle blanket.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And the same with that, I just took a regular stuffed animal and opened up a spot and filled it with beans, and it's a lot cheaper to make your own weighted animal.
You know, like they call that, what's that pillow that they use?
They're about $20 a piece. Yeah. Right.
Pillow pet.
Pillow pet. There you go.
Pets, that's what they are. We try to talk Jayla out of that. We get
And this is just Lycra that you can get at the fabric store. Just sewed it together. This one, and you don't even have to have the ring in the top of it. I've got two different kinds, but the kids can climb through this. And they also like it because it kind of filters the light, so it's really calming. And just that resistance that the fabric gives is really organizing too.
Wow. Okay, and they can go into this.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Try it out if you want.
Go ahead. So kids, kids, especially kids that need a lot of oral motor input, you can put that on a little necklace or on a little bracelet, and then they'll have that to chew on through the day. Yeah. You can use a ball, have the child lay on the floor and on their stomach and roll this ball up and down their back. But if I have an older student, use any size ball. You can take them and like put it against the wall, and then they can do it themselves. Yeah.
We did that in third.
You did? Okay.
And same with the tennis ball too.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing.
Tennis ball, you can just rub it over your back and you get you going. And this is just another type of Lycra sort of material. Kids will wrap this around themselves. I have one little boy that he'll just sit and he just wants somebody to hold it, and he rocks against it and pulls against it, and it gives him, yeah. And then the sit and spin, we take the handles off the sit and spin because, yeah, I have 2 or 3 times. And then they just have to turn themselves. They're getting the input. Some children can't motor plan the turning of that. So they're getting double input and they're moving themselves. So anybody can do this. Look. Do you have any questions? This is the sit and spin.
They have them at Walmart.
You get it at Walmart, Kmart. Yeah. And then this is probably one of the only things we did order. This is just TheraBand, and you can stretch it, use it. I tie it to the legs of chairs sometimes for kids, so if they're having a hard time sitting, they can put their legs behind it and kind of kick against it.
So why do kids need touch and movements? The sensory receptors in our skin give us that protective information to know when we're in a dangerous situation, not to touch a stove because it's hot, not to touch something that's sharp could be dangerous. So those sensory receptors alert us to that information and prepare us so that way we don't get injured. Children explore things by touch, by doing. Babies explore by putting everything in their mouths. We learn the best by touching and doing, so that's why we want you guys to have a very hands-on experience here today. And the research shows that the more of the senses you can incorporate while you're learning, then the more you will obtain.
The kids we love, first of all, the sensory sinkers, the bouncers. They're moving constantly, like a little tornado in the room. They're touching everything. They like bright, shiny objects. It's really hard for that individual to sit and focus and complete a desktop activity. They're the risk takers. They need just a lot of proprioceptive input and deep pressure and a lot of heavy objects to carry and give them that increased input to help them calm.
The next kind of kid you might think of are the noodles, the ones that are underreactive, under-responsive. They are the ones that look lazy, they look tired, they look asleep. They're slow to react to things. They have a high pain tolerance. They often, when they're eating, don't feel food on their mouth. They look lazy. They have a hard time sitting up straight in their chair. They sit in a seat and they conform to the chair that they're sitting in. They might wrap their legs around the chair so that they don't fall out, or they do better having arms on the chair so that way they don't lean out of their chair. They need a lot of movement to get them revved up. They're the ones who might need to bounce on a ball or might need to take a walk around the room in order to kind of get themselves to where that they are more, I guess, ready to do things in their world.
Then we have the fight or flight kids, and they're the over-responsive. And so they might scream or run away. They overreact to the point that they just can't function. They're sensitive to bright lights. They don't like movement. They want to stay grounded. They don't function well with a lot of transitions. And light touch is dangerous, and they really don't like messy things on their hands. And some kids, they don't fall into any one of these categories. Sometimes there's a mixture of all of them. So that's where the challenges come in.
We get this question a lot at school. Why are my kids able to hold themselves together at school and then they get home and they fall apart? And what do I do about it? Think about kind of yourselves throughout the day. When you get up in the morning, you either go to work or you're getting ready to go out to run errands or go to church, and you have to look nice, you dress in appropriate clothing, and you are ready to start your day. And then when you get home, you want to put on the most comfortable outfit you have. You're just ready to be in your environment, to be comfortable, to put your feet up, watch TV. If you have small children, that often does not happen. But you're in your environment where you feel comfortable. It's the same for our kids. The kids have to dress in a uniform or dress in something appropriate for school. They are there, they have to sit in their desk all day, they have to listen to the teacher. They're trying their best to hold themselves together all day. And then they get home and they're in their safe, comfortable environment, and that's where we see a lot of times more of the sensory behaviors will come out because they do feel like they can kind of let loose. All day long, they're having to take in information through the intercom, through a noisy cafeteria, the hustle and bustle through the hallway, people in and out, and they're all day long, their neurological system is making those adaptive responses to try to respond appropriately to that sensory input. And as we get older children and adults have a better way of recognizing what triggers some of their sensory behaviors, and they are able to do things to make those adaptive responses, such as avoiding a noisy situation or knowing when they get home they might need a couple minutes in their room by themselves. A child might want to go watch TV or play on the computer just to get away and kind of escape the house or escape what else is going on, because they know that those are the things that they're going to need in order to feel safer or feel like their sensory system is better regulated.
We do this automatically. Over the years, you kind of learn your own strategies to help you be able to function optimally. Some people might wear headphones when they're working at their desk to block out some things in the office. I love the individuals that I see when I go to a meeting and they got their legs crossed and their legs going back and forth and they're clicking their pen and chewing their gum. They're just everything that they can do to possibly stay focused and engaged in the meeting. So we all kind of, my thoughts are we all have some kind of sensory issues. We just learned how to accommodate.
And I like the example too where if you're a person who doesn't like a noisy, crowded place, you would not choose to go to Walmart at lunchtime on a Saturday. You might choose to go there on a Tuesday at 9 when you don't think anybody's going to be there. So certain examples like that we do automatically without even thinking about it. And it's the same for our kids too. How do we help the kids that we love? What we want to help you all be able to do is when you see that your child is feeling overstimulated or is running around the house or chewing up things all over the place, we want to help you be able to give them something that's more appropriate for the setting that they're in, whether they're at your house or whether they're out in public, something that will replace those behaviors that you're seeing in a more appropriate way. For example, if a child is chewing on the sleeves of his shirt or on the neck of his shirt, having them chew gum or a chewy snack instead. If your child is running around your house, maybe having them help you unload the laundry or carry a heavy laundry basket around. And typically you hear things that tend to be more alerting are movement activities, and then the heavy work tends to be more calming.
All right, so what are some things that we can do so we can live in a sensory-rich environment? You can wake up under some heavy blankets, and it doesn't even have to be a purchased like weighted blanket. You know, just several heavier blankets on top, pillows tucked in around you, giving the dog a morning hug, eating crunchy cereal for breakfast, using a vibrating toothbrush to get them more engaged with toothbrushing. Go to the park, climb, run, jump, bounce, eat a chewy granola bar. Roll up in a blanket and rest in a beanbag chair while you're reading a book. Do the same thing while you're watching TV. Have the kids help you with some of your chores, like doing the laundry, carrying the heavy laundry basket, helping take out the garbage. Put your feet in a tub of rice and sit and watch TV. Vacuum the rice up after you sit and play and watching TV. Lie on your belly and play with Legos or look at books. Take a warm bath and put some lavender bubble bath in it. Put some quiet, calming, steady music, something that's got like a rhythm to it that can help you relax. On the other hand, if the child needs more alerting, put on some reggae and go for it. Snuggle up under some heavy covers or a weighted blanket or a sleeping bag. There's so many resources now for ideas and interests. I don't know if you guys have looked on Pinterest. Pinterest has so many pins about strategies to calm kids, recipes for things to make at home. Just it's worth exploring. And then on one of the handouts, there's the Sensory Processing Disorders website. They have a lot of really good information. There's just a wealth of things. And just know that you can email me anytime. If you want some more specific like recipes or links, I can get those to you too.
It's all about setting up the environment for your child for success. So there's not really one prescription for any one child. Everybody needs what they need at a certain moment. What works today might not work tomorrow. But just having these options, having different things out there to kind of keep in your toolbox when you need to pull them out of ways that you can help your child so that they can be more successful. The next part of our presentation is going to have you rotate through some different stations. So this will be your opportunity to put your hands on some things and learn firsthand on some things that you can use at home, do at home, make for your house. And everything that we have here was not, as far as I know, was not purchased from a therapy catalog. It's all things that we have either picked up just at the store or have made ourselves. So if you have any questions as you're rotating through, we're gonna try to be at each station to be able to answer any questions that you might have. And we're excited about showing you guys some things that you can do at home for your own kids. So what we're going to do over here is we are going to make some scented Play-Doh. Okay. So you can take this with you and have it for use at home. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do 2 cups of water. And we're going to do 3 cups of flour. Okay. You might want to just scoop maybe.
Where this flour's going to stick in there. Ooh. Okay. Okay.
All right, now we're going to add 1 cup of salt. And you can make this, you can add any kind of food coloring to it if you want. If you wanted to make it for like a holiday, if you wanted to make it like at Christmas time, you could make it red and put peppermint in it. You can kind of do it to meet your needs. All right, now we're going to do 4 teaspoons of cream of tartar.
Here's another.
Yes.
We need to open the oven base.
And then 4 tablespoons of oil. Four small tablespoons. And then you can decide whether you want vanilla or almonds or peppermint.
Let's do vanilla.
Okay. And 4 tablespoons of vanilla, or as much as you would like.
Should I make it a little bit more wet? I wonder if the vanilla will change the color.
Very good. And you can add glitter to it if you want. And there you have it.
Now, will this set up a little bit more as it's...
It will set up a little bit more, or you might need to add a little bit more flour if you feel like the consistency is not going to be quite thick enough. And just think of like the carbonation and kind of how that makes you feel.
Well, I just finished out. I'm thinking because we're making loads. It's Coca-Cola.
And it could be the carbonation. Yep, because if you tend to be under-responsive, then that would help make you feel.
Really begin to wonder if that's what it is. People trying it Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Good to think of. So things that are chewy and crunchy tend to be more calming, and then things that are sour tend to be more alerting. But that the chewing is organizing. If you guys want to try any of this, feel free. We've got Twizzlers. The Sour Patch Kids are going to be alerting.
That's alerting.
That you wouldn't. Sucking.
Some of her jaws, something sour.
Really sour.
So sucking things like a thick milkshake through a straw tends to be more calming, organizing for kids. Sucking a lollipop, and then, so feel free, anything else you want. We're also going to talk about the auditory over here, thinking about how slow music tends to be calming, fast music tends to be more alerting. You wouldn't play hard rock music for a baby. If you're putting a baby to sleep, you'd play lullabies. Same thing, the calming, soothing. If you take your kids to school and you play loud, fast music, and they're already a kid who tends to be more over-responsive, or their engine tends to run higher or faster, that might not be the best choice of the radio station. But then if you have a child who tends to be kind of more sleepy in the morning, who really needs some revving up, playing some fast music, maybe a little bit louder than you normally would, might kind of help get them going in the morning.
So this is just a fidget that you can use. It's got flour, and you can put some rice in it if you want, and it just is a hand fidget to help you, release some stress, help you organize, get the deep pressure that you want.
Okay, now at church, because in his mission class, he's finally able to sit still, but they asked me if there was something that I could bring in for him to...
There you go.
This is perfect.
And sometimes I'll take a, I've used different little containers, and I'll put something like this. I'll just put some little Theraputty that you saw over there, a little container of that. I put several different options of activities in there and send it to church with them. Even if it's just like a paper and a pencil, or a little activity book, something like that. Just put it in a little case and just let it go. I call it a sensory bucket, and they love it. And I have this little boy that in church that he was not able to, and talked his mom into doing this little sensory bucket. He can sit through the whole thing.
Oh,
so
that's
in
wonderful.
the adult church, so it's a major.
Oh, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna make one for Ethan.
All right, here you go. This is like a hand fidget. It also gives you, try it. It gives you like some deep pressure input, helps calm, helps you stay organized. Like if you're sitting in a meeting or a long lecture or something like that, then it helps you stay organized. So we're gonna make one.
Okay.
All right, so blow your balloon up a little bit first. Here you go. You can have mine. You got it? Okay. Then after you let the air back out of it, then you're going to put it on the end of the funnel. Okay, there you go.
Put it on the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Just to get it up kind of high. Okay. And this works the best if you just take a little bit at a time and put it in. So you want a mixture of some rice and some flour. So I just tap in the flour a little bit at a time.
And the two things that everybody has in their house.
Right.
I have more flour and rice than I know what to do with.
So,
This is great.
and if your child likes to bite and chew on things, you can double the balloons or triple them even if you need to.
Okay, once we got all the flour in,
You want a little bit of rice?
there's rice in there.
I'm the messy one.
Yeah, just keep beating it. It'll go down.
See, that went down.
Here, I'm gonna give you one. I don't know why this balloon. Let me give you a bigger one too. There you go. But you know how to make one now if you. And the bigger balloons are the best.